What do you
Yeah.
think they should be doing to support their teams during this crisis?
I think lots. I mean, it's been going on, a few months now. I always come back to it's interesting. This, some of my lessons that I talk about, um, you know, why we won the World Cup in rugby, why certain businesses go well. And you mentioned then, the word teams. I think teams are great, but I use this thing called Teamship, and I just explain that for people listening. And it provides, what COVID's taught me more. This concept called Teamship is just so powerful. And it's a bit like we tapped on before. What Teamship is if you've got a new thought or a new idea or anything, you get your team to discuss it first, without you in the room. So if you've got an idea or a thought, lay the grounds, the kind of ideas and what you're looking for, but almost without being too dramatic, you can leave the room and let your team to discuss it, and then you want them reporting back to you. And I call this Teamship, and basically I've always created a whole lot of Teamship kind of rules and behaviours around this. But I want to get agreement from the team. And if you get 100% agreement from the team, this is what I think we should do, you can then say yes or no as a leader. So as the leader of the team, you're not giving away any authority, you're not giving away any, it's not democracy basically, because what you're already asking for is what do the team think about something. If I use a simple example, just so your listeners can understand this, but just say timekeeping. I've always been neurotic about time and timekeeping. I think time says more about an individual or a team of people than probably most things I can think of. I mean, how can you trust someone who can't even be bothered to be on time for you? So I think time's really important, but you can't every meeting we go into your team will make sure you're on time. So, for example, you get the team to discuss time. What does it really mean, time? In terms, time isn't just starting, for example, meetings like this on time, or it's finishing on time. It's having understanding what you're going to do with that area. You asked me before about, during this lockdown, I've been really big on time. Just, you get up every morning, you must know what you're going to do during that day, what you're trying to get done during that day, sheer blocks of time from working to exercising to hobbies, just get it all time. So time's important. But back to Pacific time, about the definition of time. So you get your team to discuss what time's all about. And in the England rugby team, for example, they came back to me when we put this in place. They came back to me and they had a definition of time. I was 10 minutes early. So they came back to me and said, right, our definition of time is being on time is 10 minutes early. Which in a rugby environment, a sporting environment works. You can be 10 minutes before that. And so, I read it as the coach of the team. You're going to say yes. So if you say yes, it can become what I call a teamship rule. And then we kind of almost activate it and market it. So we called it Lombardi time after a famous American football coach. So Lombardi time is 10 minutes early. I promise you, over 7 years of coaching England, no one was ever late, because it wasn't my rule, it was their rule. They put it in place. I said yes to it. And be very, very clear. If you don't like what they come up with, you still say no. It's not democracy. So if you don't like what you say, no, it doesn't go far enough, whatever. But when you think about it, George, you can get into all sorts of, incredible areas, just not only on the kind of, the obvious side of things in terms of behaviors. They're the most obvious ones, diversity, inclusion, harassment. These are subjects that a lot of people come seeing a lot of problems with. I personally don't, meaning when I say problems with, you just get them out on the table, get people to discuss them. I want to know all your views on this. Diversity, inclusion, you give them some context. You try and get agreement on all these areas. And then you get your team involved. It's the town hall meetings. You get involvement, and you start to create your teamship rules. But it can also go to specifics of your business. From in my business of rugby, line out scrums. You're asking their views on things as before you actually put things in place. And I say it's just all powerful. And I think it's an area where leaders could be really using this time now to really get into areas of discussion and thought and learnings that maybe they hadn't got into before. I call it teamship, and it certainly works for me.
So in what mindset or skills and attributes are needed to lead a team through a crisis like this?
So what attributes or mindset in terms of skills? I guess there's loads, but one of my other favourite things I always think about is this what I call teachability in terms of an attribute. Teachability is a bit of a strange word, a bit of a long word in many ways, but what teachability is, your ability to learn, it's your ability to take on knowledge, and quite simply, it's a passion for what you actually do. Certainly when I'm interviewing people, George, I'm really looking for this. Yes, I'm interested in their qualifications, but I kind of, that's a tick box. I put that aside. What I'm trying to find out when I'm interviewing people, are they teachable? Are they coachable? Are they good learners? They've got a passion for what they're actually going to do. Because, yeah, in lots of businesses, I'm sure including yours, you can provide a lot of information, which is great, and I think that's a big bonus if you're working for companies who do provide you a lot of information and knowledge to improve yourself. But I always say that's great, but let's just part that side. What do you do as an individual off your own back to improve your learning about what you do and sharing this with your colleagues within the business? Are you really teachable? Are you really coachable? Are you a bit of a know-it-all and think you have to stop doing all this sort of stuff? So, and that will go start at the top. George, if you're in charge of that company, you're in charge of any business, I'm in charge of a company, this ability about being teachable applies to you. Absolutely, because they'll pick this up, and you find they are. Most people who lead companies, they're passionate about what they do, that they're working 24/7, 365 with a reason, but they're really passionate about this, and they're not just waiting for the people to tell them, they're doing it themselves. And this is going to provide to really young people, kids at school, what else are you doing outside of what your teachers are telling you? If you want to really be successful, you've got to get this being teachable process about it. And I think that's the kind of the biggest mindset. And it's kind of, it's not a blank bit of paper so much, but it's having a real open mindset to what's going on. And because, there's no doubt, I don't think we've handled this crisis very well from a country's point of view. If you look around the world, what's been happening in other countries, Taiwan, I think, is the most interesting one, where they're on the border with China. They've hardly been affected by this because of what they did straight away was so impressive in terms of lockdowns, in terms of not allowing people in terms of testing was huge. There's some real interesting things. So almost every country has been operating almost in a silo about how they handle this and almost competing with each other. Who knows best? There's been no shared knowledge, and sometimes the real best. The history will show some of the people who really got this right were the smaller countries. But I don't think the bigger countries, including ours, were listening to them. We're actually seeing what was going on, and we got caught out. And I think we have been caught out. And the lack of testing and allowing people to fly in and out in sort of January, February was crazy. Big sporting events going on in January, February. Looking back now, this wasn't happening in other countries that handled it successfully. So it's all about being teachable and about listening to other people and not thinking you know it all.